Hello everyone and welcome to Well Trend. Today we're diving deep into a topic that touches millions of lives across the US, dementia. What causes it? Who is at risk? And, perhaps most importantly, what can we do now to reduce those risks? If you or someone you know is worried about memory loss or cognitive decline, this video is for you. Stay tuned until the end. I promise you'll walk away with new insights and maybe even practical steps to protect your brain. Before we examine causes, you need to understand what dementia truly means and why it's not just old age memory loss. Let's begin by clarifying what dementia is and what it is not. Definition and distinction. Dementia is a broad term that describes a decline in cognitive function, memory, thinking, reasoning, social skills that interferes with daily life. It's not a single disease. Rather, it encompasses multiple conditions, the most common of which is Alzheimer's disease. Many people mistakenly believe that forgetting names occasionally is dementia, but true dementia is persistent, progressive, and affects everyday functioning. Why it matters. According to Alzheimer's Association data, about 6 million Americans live with Alzheimer's disease today, and that number is projected to rise. The economic and emotional toll is enormous. So, to protect ourselves and our loved ones, it's vital to understand what causes dementia and what risk factors we can manage. With that foundation in place, let's turn to causes. Did your genes deal you a tricky hand? Or do more factors than just DNA decide whether dementia will strike? While dementia is multifactorial, genetics plays a significant role in many cases. Let's break down how biology shapes risk. The 2.1 familial and early onset dementia. Autosomal dominant forms. A small subset of dementia, less than 5%, is caused by rare genetic mutations that almost guarantee the disease. For example, mutations in the P-OSPSAN1 or SWOPSAN2 genes lead to early onset Alzheimer's in middle age. If someone inherits one of these mutated genes, the risk of developing dementia is extremely high. Apolipoprotein E, APOE gene. The APOE gene has three main forms, E2, E3, and E4. Having one or two copies of the P-APOE4 allele increases risk of late onset Alzheimer's disease. However, it's not deterministic. Many APOE4 carriers never get Alzheimer's, and many Alzheimer's patients don't carry APOE4. 2.2 Brain changes and pathology. Amyloid plaques and tau tangles. In Alzheimer's disease, abnormal proteins accumulate in the brain. Amyloid beta plaques and tau tangles. These disrupt communication between neurons, trigger inflammation, and eventually lead to neuron death. Vascular damage. Some forms of dementia are caused by impaired blood flow to the brain. Small strokes, microinfarcts, or chronic poor circulation can damage brain tissue and gradually impair cognition. Lewy bodies and synuclein. In Lewy body dementia, misfolded alpha-synuclein proteins accumulate inside neurons, interfering with brain function, sometimes overlapping with Parkinson's disease. Frontotemporal dementia, FTD. In FTD, damage occurs in the frontal and temporal lobes, often due to abnormal proteins like tau or TDP43. This leads to changes in personality, behavior, and language rather than just memory loss. So yes, your biology gives you a blueprint, but it's far from the whole story. Many factors influence whether dementia actually emerges. What if the habits you build today could become your brain's strongest defense tomorrow? Unlike unchangeable genetic predispositions, modifiable risk factors are levers you can pull now: lifestyle, health conditions, environment. Let's explore them. 3.1 Cardiovascular health and metabolic risks. Hypertension, high blood pressure. Chronic high blood pressure damages blood vessels in the brain and increases risk of vascular dementia and mixed dementia. Studies show controlling blood pressure in midlife can reduce risk of cognitive decline later. Diabetes and insulin resistance. High blood sugar and insulin resistance can damage blood vessels and increase inflammation. People with type 2 diabetes have higher risk of developing dementia. high cholesterol and atherosclerosis. When arteries carrying blood to the brain become clogged, the brain may suffer from undernourishment, leading to cognitive decline. Obesity. Especially in midlife, obesity increases inflammation and risk of metabolic syndrome, which cascade into vascular and brain risks. And 3.2, lifestyle factors and habits. Physical inactivity. Lack of regular exercise is a well-documented risk factor. Exercise helps maintain healthy blood flow, stimulates neurotrophic nerve-supporting factors, and reduces metabolic risks. Unhealthy diet. Diets high in saturated fats, refined sugars, and low in fruits, vegetables increase inflammation and oxidative stress. Conversely, MIND diet, Mediterranean diet, and DASH-style diets show protective associations. Smoking and excessive alcohol. Smoking damages blood vessels and increases oxidative stress. Heavy alcohol use can directly damage neurons and accelerate cognitive decline. Sleep disorders. Chronic poor sleep, sleep apnea, or disruptions in sleep architecture are emerging as significant risk factors. Poor sleep may impair the brain's waste clearance, glymphatic system, allowing toxic proteins to accumulate. 3.3, mental and social engagement. Cognitive inactivity. People who don't engage their brain, reading, puzzles, learning new skills, may have less cognitive reserve, making them more vulnerable when pathology accumulates. Social isolation and loneliness. Studies suggest that lack of social connection increases dementia risk by impacting mood, stress, and cognitive stimulation. Depression and mental health. Long-term depression or chronic stress potentially contributes to hippocampal shrinkage and increases inflammatory processes, possibly raising dementia risk. At 3.4, other environmental and medical risks. Traumatic brain injury, a TBI. Concussions or repeated head trauma, e.g. in contact sports, raise risk of later life cognitive problems and forms of dementia such as chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. Hearing loss. Recent research links untreated hearing impairment with increased risk of dementia, perhaps because hearing loss increases social isolation or strains cognitive processing. Air pollution and toxins. Emerging evidence points toward fine particulate matter, heavy metals, lead, mercury, pesticides, and other environmental toxins as possible contributors to neurodegeneration. Sleep-disordered breathing and hypoxia. Periods of low oxygen, e.g. untreated sleep apnea, can damage sensitive brain cells. These modifiable risks matter because, unlike genes, you have some power to change them. But first, you need to know where to focus. What you do in your 30s, 40s, and 50s influences how old your brain will age. A critical insight is that dementia is not a disease of sudden onset. Risk accumulates over many years, sometimes decades. Midlife is critical. Many studies show that controlling blood pressure, cholesterol, obesity, and diabetes in one's 40s and 50s yields stronger protective effects than waiting until older age. Late life still matters. While interventions in later years are harder, they are still beneficial. For example, adoption of healthier diets, increased physical activity, and social engagement can slow decline or delay onset. Windows of opportunity. Ages 18 to 40 lay the foundation: fitness, avoiding head trauma, education. Ages 40 to 65, aggressively manage cardiovascular and metabolic risk factors. Ages 65 plus, maintain brain-healthy habits and monitor cognition. To summarize, dementia is a long game. The earlier you start, the better your brain's defenses. Never think of risk factors in isolation. They collide, amplify, and multiply one another's effects. Let's look at how different risk factors interact in ways that accelerate damage. Metabolic and vascular synergy. Diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, they all fuel vascular damage. Add obesity and inflammation, and you get a vicious cycle of declining blood flow to the brain. Genetics plus environment equals outcome. Having an APOE4 allele doesn't guarantee Alzheimer's, but combine that with poor diet, sedentary lifestyle, and smoking, and risk skyrockets. Cognitive reserve concept. People with higher education, robust social life, and mentally challenging work often tolerate more pathology before showing symptoms. This reserve interacts with lifestyle and genetics to determine when or if symptoms emerge. Stress and sleep worsening other factors. Chronic stress or sleep disruption increases inflammation, which can worsen hypertension, insulin resistance, and provoke brain damage. Understanding that dementia is rarely caused by a single factor strengthens our case. The more of these you reduce or delay, the stronger your protection. Data doesn't lie, and the trends point clearly to both risks and hope. It's vital to anchor our discussion in real-world studies so viewers see that these risks aren't speculative. Longitudinal cohort studies. Studies such as the Framingham Heart Study, the Rotterdam Study, and UK Biobank show strong associations between midlife hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and later cognitive decline. Intervention trials. Trials like FINGER, Finnish Geriatric Intervention Study to Prevent Cognitive Impairment and Disability, demonstrate that multi-domain interventions, diet, exercise, cognitive training, vascular risk control, can slow decline in at-risk older adults. Population attributable risk. Researchers estimate that up to 40% of dementia cases worldwide may be attributable to modifiable risk factors, e.g. hypertension, obesity, smoking, diabetes, meaning nearly half could be prevented or delayed. Disparities in social determinants. Dementia risk is not equally distributed. Socioeconomically disadvantaged groups, communities with poorer access to health care, or higher environmental exposures tend to have higher burdens of risk. These data underscore urgency. We can't just wait for treatments. Prevention is a battleground where gains are real. You don't need dementia to speak loud. Small red flags may already be waving. It's worth knowing early signals that you might be climbing a risk slope. These are not diagnosis, but cues to act earlier. Subjective cognitive decline. You sense memory lapses or confusion, though tests are still normal. Research shows those who perceive decline are more likely to develop objective impairment later. Mild cognitive impairment, MCI. Here, measurable decline is present but not severe enough to impair daily life. MCI is heterogeneous. Some people remain stable or revert, others progress to dementia. Vascular signs. White matter lesions, small silent strokes on brain MRI, often uncovered incidentally, may foreshadow vascular cognitive decline. Cardiometabolic warning signs. Worsening blood pressure, poor glycemic control, rising cholesterol. These are warning signals not just for heart disease, but for the brain too. If you or someone you care for is noticing such signs, even modestly, it's time to consult a physician and take action. Don't wait. Your brain's health is a daily investment, and your returns will appear over time. We've talked about risks. Now let's cover what you can do. Here's a practical roadmap. 1. Control cardiovascular risk. Keep blood pressure in optimal range. Manage diabetes and insulin resistance. Lower LDL cholesterol, reduce atherosclerosis. 2. Embrace physical exercise. Aim for a mix: aerobic, walking, cycling, strength training, and balance coordination, e.g. yoga, tai chi. Even 150 minutes/week of moderate activity helps. 3. Adopt a brain-healthy diet. Focus on vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, lean proteins, healthy fats, olive oil, fatty fish. Limit processed foods, sugar, red meat. The Mind or Mediterranean diets are excellent models. 4. Quit smoking and limit alcohol. If you smoke, stop. For alcohol, moderation is key, or abstaining if risk is high. 5. Prioritize quality sleep. Treat sleep apnea, maintain regular sleep rhythms, optimize sleep hygiene, dark, cool, quiet room. 6. Keep your brain active. Learn new skills, play musical instruments, solve puzzles, read widely, take courses. Kipi? Keep challenging your mind. 7. Stay socially connected. Cultivate friendships, volunteer, join clubs. Social stimulation is a powerful protective factor. 8. Protect against head trauma. Wear seatbelts, helmets, fall-proof your home, limit risky contact sports as appropriate. Bonus: regular checkups. Routine screening for risk factors, cognitive testing as you age, and monitoring subtle changes can catch trouble early. Let me reassure you, these steps aren't just hypothetical. While no guarantee exists, these strategies are supported by mounting evidence and can shift the odds in your favor. Even as medicine advances, your best bet is to stack the deck toward prevention. You might wonder, but what about drugs like those getting FDA approval for Alzheimer's? It's true. We're seeing breakthroughs in therapies targeting amyloid tau inflammation. However, these treatments are mainly for people already showing pathology. They're not preventative yet. They come with costs, risks, and limited efficacy. Prevention, lowering risk before pathology becomes irreversible, is still the most scalable, accessible approach for most people. So, while medical therapies may slow progression or remove some damage, they don't replace the importance of reducing modifiable risk factors early. Let's bust some common myths about dementia risk that may be holding you back from taking action. Myth number 1. If my parent had dementia, I'm doomed. Truth. Family history increases risk, but it's not destiny. Many people with family history never develop it, especially with healthy habits. Myth number 2. Memory loss is just part of getting older. Truth. While some mild forgetfulness is common, true dementia is pathologic and should be assessed medically. Myth number 3. Nothing helps. Dementia is inevitable after a certain age. Truth. Though risk increases with age, many older adults maintain sharp cognition. Evidence suggests significant prevention remains possible. Myth number 4. Brain games alone can prevent dementia. Truth. Cognitive training is helpful, but it must be part of a holistic strategy, including diet, fitness, vascular health, social engagement. Dispelling myths clears the path for proactive, empowered choices. If your brain is whispering, take steps now rather than waiting for a shout. If you or a loved one is worried, 1. Consult a physician or neurologist. Seek evaluation. Medical workup can identify reversible causes, e.g. vitamin deficiencies, thyroid problems, screen for MCI, or order imaging cognitive tests. 2. Get baseline cognitive testing. Tests like MoCA, Montreal Cognitive Assessment, or other neuropsychological screens help track change over time. 3. Address modifiable risks aggressively. Control blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol. Start exercise. Adopt healthy diet. Treat sleep apnea. Quit smoking. 4. Monitor and track change. Keep a brain health journal. Note memory lapses, mood changes, sleep quality, medication side effects. 5. Enlist support. Family, friends, support groups. Mental health matters. Stay social and engaged. 6. Consider clinical trials. If appropriate, research trials for early cognitive impairment or dementia risk may provide access to emerging therapies and contribute to science. Your brain's path is a journey, not a fixed map, and you still have the steering wheel. In summary, dementia arises from a complex interplay of sati, genetic, biological, vascular, lifestyle, and environmental factors. You can't change your genes, but you can influence many its modifiable risk factors. The earlier you act, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, the more power you hold. Simple, consistent strategies: exercise, diet, sleep, vascular health, cognitive engagement, social connection, build resilience over time. Medical advances may help people already affected, but prevention remains your best defense. If this video taught you something new, please like and share it. Someone you care about might benefit. Subscribe and hit the bell to get updates on brain health, wellness, and aging topics. Comment below. What risk factor surprised you? What step will you take starting today? Thank you for joining me. Remember, your brain is the most precious instrument you own. Treat it with respect, care, and strategy. Together, let's build a sharper, healthier future.